So normally, I stick on to the statutory resolution seeking the disapproval of ordinance under Article 1231 of the Constitution, as no exigency or emergent extraordinary situations were prevailing. But here in this ordinance promulgation, I do have only formal objection regarding the promulgation of ordinance under Article 1231. Yes, sir, I do agree with the government and the minister, the fact that there are certain exigencies and emergent situations due to the outbreak of novel coronavirus, that is COVID-19 pandemic and the resulting lockdown. This ordinance was promulgated on 31st day of March 2020. Relaxations to certain provisions of the Act specified in the ordinance relating to direct taxes and indirect taxes is highly required as there is COVID-19 pandemic and absolute lockdown was declared by the Honorable Prime Minister. So the people in the country are not able to comply with the provisions of the tax laws due to the lockdown. Therefore, some relaxations of extensions for the compliance of various provisions of tax laws are highly essential, and hence there is a justification in the promulgation of ordinance. I think that this is the first time in the House I am justifying the promulgation of an ordinance because I fully agree with the government and the minister, that is, there are certain contingencies and exigencies, and an extraordinary situation is prevailing in our country because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Thereby, the people are not able to comply with the provisions of the taxation laws, both direct taxation and indirect taxation laws. But what is my objection, sir? I do have a very strong objection to certain provisions in the ordinance that I would like to highlight. The ordinance makes substantive amendments to 8 different acts. Sir, it may kindly be noted that 8 different acts are being modified, means substantial changes took place in 8 acts. And there also, one of the major act is the Income Tax Act of 1961. Out of this section 4 of the ordinance, I would like to explain that is dealing with the Prime Minister's Care Fund or PM Case Fund. Sir, yesterday also during the time of introduction of the bill, also this matter was elaborately discussed by the House. I need not repeat into the provisions of the arguments advanced by my learned friends yesterday. Sir, I can't understand the logic to have a separate fund, because the Prime Minister's Citizens Assistance and Relief in Emergency Situation Fund, in short form it is PM CARES, when we have a similar fund of Prime Minister's National Relief Fund. Sir, what is the difference between the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund and the PM CARES Fund? And further, this fund is exempted from the Comptroller and Auditor General. That means there is no CAG auditing also, for which no reason is stated either in the bill or in the ordinance. Why there is no audit by the CAG? There is nothing is mentioned either in the statement of objection reasons or nowhere it is being mentioned. What is the reason by which the government is evading the CAG audit? I would like to seek the clarification from the Honorable Finance Minister. Sir, both are having tax exemptions. Prime Minister's National Relief Fund as well as the PM CARES, both these Prime Minister's funds are having tax exemption. So what is the distinction? The main distinction which I would like to see, to my information, donation to Prime Minister's Case Fund count towards the company's mandatory corporate social responsibility contribution. If you are contributing into the PM Case Fund, then a corporate, suppose they are contributing, that will be counted as their mandatory corporate social responsibility contribution. Suppose at the same time, if you are contributing to the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, then it will not be counted. This is my information, subject to correction, or my knowledge. Subject to correction. Suppose you are contributing in the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, that it will not be counted as a mandatory CSR responsibility. That is the difference. That means the companies are getting. Sir, what is the resulting effect of all these things? The companies are getting a double benefit of tax exemption. That is the main strong objection. How can it be possible? One way you are getting the CSR exemption because as per the Corporate Social Responsibility Act 2% of the annual profit has to be provided. So 2% of the profit should be provided for the corporate social responsibility, for which you are getting an exemption, and income tax exemption is also there. So as far as the Prime Minister's Cares Fund is concerned, you are getting double tax benefit, but as far as the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, there is no such exemption. So what it is, this discretion is also illegitimate and could not be a logical sense of discrimination. That is the second point which I would like to make. So my submission is, donation to central government shall not be counted as a mandatory CSR contribution, since they have already been exempted under income tax. And the Prime Minister, so another point is the Prime Minister PM case lacks transparency as it is not audited by the Comptroller and Auditor General. Further, sir, RTI, Right to Information Act, that is also subject to correction. Even right to information is also not applicable as far as the PM case is concerned. Because so many representations, so many information has been sought. What is the total amount so far collected? What is the amount so far distributed? What are the norms and conditions by which the PM case is being utilized? For all these queries, it is not applicable. RTA is not applicable. That is the answer which we are getting. So the question of transparency and accountability is the major issue which I would like to highlight. So, sir, please, I'm more. Yes. Sir, regarding the, sir, a recent analysis by Indian Spend estimated that at least 9,677.90 crores has been collected in the PM Cares Fund. Of this, 4,308 crores has been donated by the government agencies and the government staff. So out of the 9,000 something crores of rupees, around 4,000 and additional 4,000 something crores of rupees that has been donated by the government agencies as well as the government staff, railways, and so many public sector undertakings and also private corporates. So out of which so far 3,100 crore has already been given for the COVID-19 work, and 2,000 crore which is made in controversy. I'm not going to the controversy because in the Rajkot ventilator has been given, it has become a big case of corruption, it has become a scam, and it is also pending. That is quite unfortunate, because immediately after the commencement of the PM case, the PM case fund coming into a controversy means that itself is a not signal, it is not a good gesture as far as the PM case fund is concerned. That is another point which I would like to make. Sir, besides that, there is a total lack of transparency about the use of the funds. The allegation of cronyism and favoritism with regard to the spending are particularly of concern. And further, sir, the PM case web page is opaque regarding the amount of money collected, names of donors, the expenditure of the fund so far, or names of the beneficiaries. The PMNRF fund, sir, at the same time you see, yes, sir. Sir, sir, only I have just started, no?
Just.
Yes, sir.
Please conclude now.
Yes, sir. Sir, please, sir, you know very well the rule. Yes, sir. I am obliging to the chairman, sir. Sir, the PMNRF, the Prime Minister's National Relief Fund, provides annual donation and expenditure information without any detailed breakup. I do accept. There is no detailed breakup as far as the PMNRF is concerned, but annual report is being given. The Prime Minister's Cares Fund's trust deed is not available for public scrutiny also. That is quite unfortunate as far as the PM Cares Fund is concerned. Sir, I am coming to the another provision in the ordinance, sir.